An Insight into Terrorism by Matthew Laurentius Hall. Terrorism is, in layman's terms, any deliberate act directed usually against the state which aims to create panic and terror amongst the populace. It is often subject on the news and the talk of the town. Terrorism is very prevalent in today's society, as much as we don't want this to be so. Because of this, we tend to have a typically narrow-minded view of the RISM. Many people instantly think of the tragedy which occurred on September 11th, 2001, when two jetliners crashed into the Empire State Building. This thought brings tears to my eyes and to the eyes of many patriotic Americans. When the attacks happened, I remember I was crying because the bad man on TV was saying we were all chum water. The point is that terrorism affects all of us in this modern age, but that terrorism, like the 9/11 attacks, aren't the only kind. Many terrorists come from within our own country's gruel. Examples of this are often viewed as less than terrorism, and I think this is because we have been taught to believe that terrorism either comes from Russians or some smelly towelheads speaking their booga booga language. However, I find it hard not to think of school shootings like the VTech and Sandy Hook shootings, not to be acts of terrorism. In fact, I fully believe that they are. Two questions arise from this. Why do they do it, and how can we prevent it? Well, I'll feed you baby birds. Domestic terrorism is usually committed by people who wouldn't typically think of as anti-American or terrorists at all. Most of these people are mentally disabled in some way or have been tormented by their peers for so long that they go crazy. Take, for example, Adam Landa, who in 2014 killed multiple young children in Connecticut. This young man was an example of someone with severe autism. The young boy would not communicate well, even with his own mother, let alone other students. Adam Lanza was so autistic he thought he needed to prove a point by killing several innocent middle-class white children. I think mental disability is a leading cause for terrorism, even if a person was in a sound state of mind at one point. Years of peer torment or parenting can cause a person to become mentally unsound and dangerous. It is people like this who we need to watch out for the most. Being a high school student, I am worried about this issue especially. What I believe needs to be done to fix this is simple. I believe all students who have any kind of mental disability, namely autism and Asperger's syndrome, should be put into special schools and special camps for their education and benefit, and they should also not be allowed at large public events, unless they harm someone out of autismal rage. This would be especially good because if there ever was an incident like a mass stabbing or shooting at school, the only person who died would be probably not worth keeping around anyway. Talk about two birds with one stone. Now, while this may seem cruel at first, and I acknowledge that, this is a last resort. When I see an autistic kid clenching his fists and muttering in the hallway while spaghetti tickles their legs, I get scared. I'm scared for myself and my fellow students because you never know what's going to happen with them. In conclusion, people with autism should not be allowed in public schools to prevent terrible incidents like Sandy Hook and Columbine. Thank you.